We are officially in the month of John Cena's final match. Yes, I can't actually believe that I'm saying that, but here in about 12 days' times, we are going to be watching John Cena step into a WWE ring and just a ring in general for the final time. Now, as of today, there are 4 competitors left in the Last Time Is Now tournament, and I'm going to be making a case in today's video on why each competitor in this tournament makes sense to be John Cena's final opponent. So I ask, if you guys are new here, definitely be sure to like this video and also be sure to subscribe to the channel, because when you guys subscribe, we go to a different stratosphere. That's just the way it is. And now, without further ado, let's hop directly into the video. So many years ago, WWE was being ran by the Bloodline. Yes, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jey Uso. They were just running roughshod all over WWE and really making their names known. Now, Roman Reigns was the champion at the time, and he was really being booked very, very strongly. And here we would see him, go through these very tight-knit matches. Now, WWE, obviously, Roman Reigns was a heel. They needed a guy to protect Roman Reigns in certain situations. So in NXT, the Usos actually had a little brother who went by the name Solo Sikoa. As we know, Solo Sikoa has been and had been doing some great work down in NXT. So when Solo Sikoa made his debut on the WWE main roster at Clash at the Castle, when Roman Reigns was facing off against Drew McIntyre, nobody understood or really knew exactly what was going to happen with Solo Sikoa. We all just thought, hey, this is going to be Roman Reigns' enforcer. And sure enough, that's exactly what he was. So let's fast forward through the year. WWE obviously knew that Solo Sikoa was going to play a pivotal part in how the Bloodline kind of collapsed, and sure enough, he did just that. But on the build-up to that, and while he was still with the Bloodline, he had to have some kind of big feud. Who would that big feud be against? Well, it would be against no other than John Cena. Yes, John Cena and Solo Sikoa actually faced off at Crown Jewel 2023, and you would see that it was by a decisive victory that Solo Sikoa really just dominated John Cena in this match. And John Cena was on a very heavy losing streak at the time, and that was like unheard of, because this is the GOAT. This is the greatest of all time. How could he possibly have this situation happen to him? How could he possibly, continuously lose all these matches? And then obviously fast forward a little bit further, John Cena would announce his retirement tour, which made a lot of sense. John Cena was just consistently on this losing streak. It was like he'd be in the WWE, he'd come back for a little while, he'd lose, and then he'd go away for a little while, and then he'd come back, and then he'd lose, and then he'd go away for a little while, and then he'd come back and he'd lose, and the cycle just continuously continued. So the case for Solo Sikoa and John Cena to have this quote-unquote, final match for John Cena would be that John Cena needs his revenge against Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, I think, if I were to internalize it, Solo Sikoa probably put the nail in the coffin for John Cena. For John Cena to be like, oh, do I really have that step in me? Am I missing a beat? Solo Sikoa was that person to John Cena. John Cena had to doubt himself and question everything about himself because of Solo Sikoa. And ultimately, again, we get the retirement tour after the match with Solo Sikoa. So he is like that final just, oh yeah, I can't do this anymore. I don't have what it takes to continuously go the way that these young gentlemen continuously have. And I think that is the case that you can make for Solo Sikoa. And it's a very simple story to tell. It's the story of Solo Sikoa kind of snatched John Cena's pride away from him. And I think that is the best case scenario that you can make on why Solo Sikoa should be the final match. As of right now, this gentleman, LA Knight, doesn't have much of a history with John Cena, but they do have some history. They actually tag teamed at Fastlane in 2023, where they would take on the Bloodline. Now, in this match, you would obviously see that the emphasis on it was, hey, LA Knight is this megastar, and John Cena kind of gave him that cosign. Now, as of recent years, WWE has numerously tried to capitalize on LA Knight. They've tried their absolute best to get him going and get the firepower going. They've had him win the the United States Championship, And they've had him in the Money in the Bank ladder matches. They've had him in the WWE Championship matches. They've had him in the World Heavyweight Championship matches. But just time and time again, WWE has pulled away from LA Knight. And it just felt as if, okay, now is not his time. Okay, well, when is his time? So they have numerously showed you that they are trying to get LA Knight in this high-level spot, and they just can't get there. They're like afraid of it. They're afraid to kind of send him into that next level, if you will. So I feel like in this case, John Cena's last match and LA Knight make a lot of sense because LA Knight doesn't have that one thing to kind of just send him over the edge. He's just kind of sitting there, still kind of, I guess in some cases you could call it purgatory. And truth be told, I think that, me personally, I think he makes a lot of sense just because I've been such a LA Knight fan and I've been one of those people who have really rooted for him going forward, just wanting to see him do well, wanting to see him succeed. I understand that maybe he's not the quote-unquote future of the business, but he definitely is playing a pivotal role in why WWE is putting asses in seats as we currently speak. The guy is so over, even after everything that WWE has done to him, and they've just continuously pushed back, and then they've pushed back, and then they've pushed back, and then they've pushed back some more. So now we have this opportunity to get it right. So I definitely think you can make the case for LA Knight to be John Cena's final opponent. I actually think it works out quite well, in my personal opinion, because of, again, wanting that star power, wanting that future, even if you want to make him a babyface, a heel, it doesn't matter, but you send him over that hurdle that he's been trying for years and years and years to get over. And I think that's the case that you can make for LA Knight. Next, we have Jey Uso. Now, obviously, we understand that Jey Uso and John Cena do have some history. It's not like a crazy amount, but it's just enough. As we know, the whole reason that John Cena turned heel and the whole reason that he felt entitled to enter the Elimination Chamber was ultimately because he couldn't win the Royal Rumble. And who won the Royal Rumble? Well, it was no other than Jey Uso, who would ultimately go on to face Gunther at WrestleMania and become the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, let's be real here. John Cena did go win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, making him a 17-time World Champion. But the whole reason that John Cena turned his back technically on the fans was because at the Royal Rumble, he still couldn't get it done. He still struggled. He still hadn't been able to find a way to make it known that, hey, I can get this done. I could still compete. Jey Uso pulled that away from him. They were the final two competitors in the Royal Rumble match. Now, Jey Uso is obviously on the rise right now. The guy is still so over, no matter what fans think, and no matter what you read on the internet. If you go walk into an arena that WWE is having an event and it's taking place there, understand that, dude, WWE is... they've got this guy more over than anybody. The whole yeeting thing, as much as maybe the adults hate it, dude, the kids love it. And that's the whole point of it. It's to have the kids ultimately enjoy it. And sure shit, they do. They do. So the case here is that if WWE wants to continue Jey Uso's rise, do they want to continue pushing him forward? And like in WWE Unreal, when Triple H went to Jey Uso and said, I'm about to strap a rocket to your back, if he wants to continue putting that rocket on and sending Jey Uso forward, you can ultimately make the case that Jey Uso does deserve this match against John Cena because he is what WWE is looking at into the future. He is what WWE sees right now, and as a guy who has been in numerous World Championship title matches and been in numerous WWE Championship matches, he plays a pivotal role in all of that. I actually think that Jey Uso does make a strong case. Is he my personal pick? No, he's not. I don't think I'd have Jey Uso do it, just because I think, in my personal opinion, we're starting to see the downfall a little bit of Jey Uso, so I don't think it would make a lot of sense to push him forward and have that match with John Cena, but I do see a world where you can make the case of like, oh yeah, no, he does make sense in this final spot. But ultimately, that's up to you guys to decide. You guys can let me know down in the comment section below. Finally, we've reached no other than Gunther. Yes, Gunther is obviously the man right now. He is dominant. He is a beast. He is coming off a loss at SummerSlam to CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, who ultimately then got cashed in on by Seth Rollins, but he's still coming off a loss. And Gunther is somebody that you can just look at and be like, oh yeah, WWE wants to push that guy forward. WWE, I think, is going to push that guy forward. They gave him Goldberg's last match, the longest Intercontinental Championship run of all time, 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, and this dude just got up to the main roster a couple years ago. Like, dude, WWE's not playing around with Gunther. I'm here to tell you guys that personally, this is my pick for John Cena's final match, but let's get into the case on why you can make it. And I think I just kind of gave you a list of accolades that make sense to ultimately give him this final match. And we have to look at how John Cena wants to be remembered. Does he want to be remembered as the guy who got his hand raised high, or does he want to be remembered as the guy who pushed the industry forward? And I think John Cena, in his character and who he is as a actual person, I think it fits the narrative more that he goes out on a losing path. I don't think John Cena wins his final match. I think it makes more sense to have him lose because you want to get the future of the business put into the right hands, and there's no other person better than Gunther. I mean, you talk about mic work, you talk about in-ring ability, you talk about the way he interacts with the crowd, you talk about his entrance, you talk about everything about this guy just lines up with almost who John Cena was, but almost that complete opposite. If you go back and you look at one of John Cena's biggest feuds and his first feuds was JBL, and JBL was just this polar opposite of John Cena, and that's exactly what Gunther is. He's that polar opposite, but it just works. It's what you want to see. It's good television at the end of the day. So WWE, I think, has a strong case here to make with Gunther. I think if you want to give him the win, if you want to give him the loss, it doesn't matter. I think Gunther being in that final position, now that the Intercontinental Championship is officially off John Cena, it makes a lot of sense. Now I'm okay with it. Now that the belt is off John Cena, and I know, like, okay, they're not going to fight for the Intercontinental Championship in John Cena's last match, and instead what they're going to do is they're just going to have a one-on-one pro wrestling match. Give it to me. Hands down, makes a lot of sense. So I think you can make the Gunther case very simply, even though these two really have no history together, like haven't been very interactive with one another in certain circumstances. So ultimately, again, that's up for you guys to decide, and you guys can let me know how you feel about that down in the comments section below, but I do think that WWE can make a strong case for Gunther. Guys, that is the video. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video where we look and made a case for all of the final contestants in the Last Time Is Now tournament and why they all make sense to be John Cena's final opponent. And you guys should definitely make your case down in the comments section below, and we can have a conversation about it. So I ask if you guys are new here to be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. I'll be talking to you later. Peace.